Welcome to WorkLifeCyber. Today I am going to talk to you about HITRUST. In my previous video, we talked about HIPAA. Now I'm going to talk about HITRUST. I wanted to do it back to back, upload them back to back, because I have come to in contact with so many people who's confused the two. And I hope I don't confuse you even more. I hope I make them clearer. There isn't much to say about HITRUST, but I just want, I'm chewing gum, sorry. I just wanted to make sure that you're not confusing the two. They don't sound the same, but I don't know how it's so easy to confuse them. But when you talk about HIPAA, HIPAA is not a certification. HIPAA, a bunch of controls, a bunch of standards, a bunch of must-dos. It's just a list. But HITRUST is an actual certification. I mean, you can even hang it on your wall at the office, at the company, if your company is HITRUST certified. With HIPAA, you don't get any certification. HIPAA is like, well, SOC 2, you do get a certification that you can hang on the wall. No, I'm kidding. I just want to make it as practical as possible, give you like real life scenarios so that you're not, to make it clearer, because like I said, we're all, if you're here, you've probably done a boot camp, you've probably done the PowerPoints, you have material. So when I come here, I try not to do that. I try to, as much as possible, relate it. But sometimes I tend to confuse you guys. So HITRUST is a certification. HIPAA is standards. It's a list. Remember, I gave you the bathroom list as things, ways to avoid germs. You wash your hands, you sing, you do all these things, wash with soap or bacteria, sanitizer, blah, 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 blah. Those are standards. But with HITRUST, HITRUST is Health Information Trust. When you have that certification, everyone knows that you've gone through rigorous and you're still following, because if you deviate, HITRUST will kick you out of the list of HITRUST certified companies. Yes, and you lose it like that. So if you're someone who's current on HITRUST list, it means if I am assessing you, company A, and you tell me, oh, I'm HITRUST certified, and you prove to me that you're currently HITRUST certified, and you do things to maintain it, I am confident that you're somewhat more secure. Your security posture is pretty much solid as to someone who is not HITRUST certified. I hope that makes sense. And HITRUST also is not a requirement. It's highly recommended. But it's not because it's not cheap. You got to hire people. Just like, so for HITRUST, it's like a group of really probably CISOs who have come together as privately owned, private professionals who came together, not privately owned, but it's accepted by law. It's not a law, but it's accepted by the US government. It's accepted by whatever governs businesses, that it's solid. They are constantly, like, they are legit. So HITRUST is like an assurance that the company, if they are HITRUST certified, that the company is legit, or they have standards in place that they are maintaining, they are continue, that are acceptable, standards that work, effective standards that work, for the company. So HITRUST can have standards, combine all standards, ISO, PCI DSS. I don't use that one, so it's very hard to remember. I said not ISO as an information security officer, but ISO as an ISO 27, all those things. And then HIPAA. So HIPAA is part of the standards that HITRUST approves. So if you're someone who is HIPAA compliant, and HITRUST, you go through the HITRUST certification process, and they realize that, yes, you are HIPAA compliant, and whatever they recommend that you use, whatever controls that they recommend you use, you are actually using them, and you've implemented them, and it's effective, and you go through rigorous testing, then you are HITRUST certified. Down the road, when you get breached and it's your fault, you get kicked out to redo it. Yes, and then they will kind of reassess you. Most of these controls are basically based on information protection and risk assessment and all these things. So always think that way, okay? So HITRUST is a certification that you are actually HIPAA compliant. So HITRUST is just saying that you use you have a set of controls that is HIPAA approved, and if you are in you're using it uses, actually, I shouldn't even say it uses, it does use PCI DSS, only because some health companies do payments, right? Yeah. So HITRUST is just saying, we have assessed this company. They are using the right controls based on these frameworks. So it has really reviewed a lot of frameworks, and then they kind of tailor your company to what controls will be effective. So it's a rigorous, it's not a day. You don't become HITRUST certified overnight. I think, and I probably should have Googled this before coming here, but based on the experience, I think it takes up to 2 years. Comment if you think otherwise. If you have experience where it took 6 months, don't go and say 6 months. I mean, you would have to be like a really good company for this to happen, I think. So once you're certified, you go through things, regular testing, and then you remain HITRUST certified. Again, HITRUST uses different frameworks to select standardized, appropriate controls required for each company, organization to use. And when they have tested and realized that it's effective, then they give you like a stamp of approval that you are HITRUST certified. And it's almost refreshing, but when you've done this work for a while, you know not to trust anything, right? Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So that's the difference. HIPAA is a set of controls, standards, rules, lists that you don't have to do all of it. But if you go through the HITRUST certification, if you're on the roadmap to HITRUST, being HITRUST certified, they will help you to choose, select appropriate, and they do a lot of testing, a lot of meetings to say, okay, these controls you need to implement in your company. If you're already implementing it, even better. But if they tell you, okay, based on the needs of your company, you need disaster recovery plan that has such and such and such, you need you need soundproof. Yes, it gets to that point. You need screensavers. You need this. Whatever they tell you, if you implement them and if they test that over the course of a few months or whatever they require, you are effectively using those controls, then you become HITRUST certified. This goes through a lot of meetings. Legal team gets involved. So remember, HITRUST has sat down, reviewed frameworks. So they pick frameworks because if you've worked in this area for a while, you know that it's not all controls that apply to it's not a cookie cutter. You look at all and you can, if you know by now, the controls are hundreds, right? No one company can implement all controls. That's why there's baselines list. Even the baseline, it can really be biased, right? So, but when you've had professionals actually take you through the HITRUST certification roadmap and you've passed, then they give you that certification. It's just like all of us IT professionals. If you have certain certification, it's assumed that you know what you are doing better than someone who doesn't have, right? Even though they will still take you through the interview processing, it's still kind of comforting. So that's it. HITRUST is an actual certification that uses different frameworks to kind of assess a company. And those frameworks can include HIPAA. So HIPAA is a framework. There's no certification for HIPAA. HITRUST is not a requirement, but is highly recommended. So if a company you don't penalize a company, an organization for not being HITRUST certified. But those who do, the rich ones who do, yeah. I hope I have thrown some light into the difference between HITRUST and HIPAA. Let me know if I missed out something. And you test HITRUST the same way you would test any other certification. You see what controls they have in place. You go through the control testing, assessment, artifact collection, screenshots, configuration, penetration tests, all these things, whatever controls and if they have actually passed and they are still HITRUST compliance, you really don't have to do much. You just read and make sure that they're being tested. You check their risk. The last time they did risk assessment, these things are great. I hope I didn't confuse you, and now you know the difference between HITRUST and HIPAA. HITRUST is a certification. HIPAA is a framework. HITRUST uses different frameworks to carve out what is recommended for any company, and those frameworks include HIPAA. So they can say, from these frameworks are from HIPAA, these frameworks are from NIST, these frameworks. So we've selected a couple of different controls from different frameworks, and we're saying implement these and have a continuous monitoring, and it's effective. We've tested it, and now we've given you approval. Make sense? Or you think I should do another video? Do we just want to make another video? All right. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please hit the notification button and let's learn together.